All right. Hello. Welcome to another round of live self coaching. As always, I do these videos completely for myself. And kind of the theme of how these videos are starting to go is the first, maybe third of this video, I'm just getting all my emotions out, processing. Sometimes I get into freeze mode. And sometimes, like even saying sometimes instead of like all the time, that's already like a massive, massive success. And I've had massive upgrades. Actually, come back. The structure, right? It's about third of this beginning of the live. I am just stuck in emotional freeze, and I'm just kind of moving through it, putting what's on the inside outside. And then the second third, I talk about either, I talk about what I did do in the last 24 hours or since the last live video, and then what I will do in the next 24 hours or until the next live video. And then I want to also, with extra time, I would go into any of the concepts of the Enlightened Mastery self coaching system that I'm developing. So that's kind of how this structure is evolving. And so here we are. Hello. Let me ground into this moment. I am self coaching myself, and I will teach others how to self coach themselves using visual thinking and and whatever. Okay, so coming back here. Ooh, it feels warm. Wow, it's like 80 degrees or something. Ooh, yeah, yep. I'm gonna open some windows. 1 second. All right. So I've been away for a week. I went to Earth Day Revival, which was a mini festival that that blank, my mind just blanked out. So I simply acknowledge what is. Right, so this is the first third of the video where I'm getting used to being back on live video. Um, yeah, look, there it is. There's the freeze. I'm simply going to put what's on the inside to the outside and going easy on myself and just staying with the fire and doing emotional strength training. Right, so I'm intentionally leaning into all my triggers and simply putting everything out. Of course, I do have my box of liberation, which means I stay within these frame, and this box is I am safe to myself and others, so I do not really even talk about self-harm or harm to others, right? I don't give away my informational security, and I'm not loud and disruptive in my physical environment, so people don't worry. And within those bounds, I realize I can be free to stretch and talk about utterly anything or nothing. Or just sit here in awkward silence and be like, oh my gosh, people are judging me. Ah. And that is also part of emotional strength training. Okay, so I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety, if that's what it's called. I have some desires to talk about the weekend and the things that I got and how wild it was that it felt like there was two of me. There was one when my anxiety was activated, I was the small self, the self that I used to be 24/7, the self that used to not be able to talk to people, feel like couldn't connect with anyone, and I literally couldn't speak when I'm with somebody. It was like, like my mind would be frozen. But the wild thing now is there's this other me now, like right here, like this person here that I'm actually saying words and I'm not like frozen, I'm not like blocked. I'm blocked a little bit. I mean, I'm blocked a lot, but like I'm still able to speak and not completely frozen. Of course, it is dinner. 1 second, I'm gonna bring the food inside and just 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, so I didn't. Okay, I brought the food inside and now I can eat at my leisure. So I want to finish this. I'm only 6 minutes in, so okay. Pause. I want to celebrate that my past self having an interruption like that would have just knocked me off kilter. But like now I'm just like, oh, pause, hit the mute button, do what I gotta do, and then come back. I've had a massive upgrade this in the break that um, time that I've had. I dove heavily into ChatGPT and it's just accelerated my mind so much because I don't have to worry about remembering anything. I just trust that ChatGPT will remember what it remembers, and then I just blitz through question after question, and I read through the answers, and the answers will give me like a clue to something else I want to ask about. One of the things I asked about was like, well, list me all the negative emotions, all of them, right? It's like, okay, humiliation, degradation, embarrassment. It's like, okay, cool. All right. Now, if I wanted to, and the part of it in the description was like, oh, if you feel these things, it could be terrible, but here's how you feel better, or you feel less suffering when you let go of things. I was like, hold on a minute. What if I did the opposite? What if, and so I asked ChatGPT, was like, what if I wanted to feel all the emotions like as worse as possible, right? So it's just like, okay, ChatGPT, give me like something to say to me that would like make me feel the worst of all, like stack everything together, like degradation, humiliation, embarrassment. It's just like give it all. And at some point, it's like you start reading, it's just like, okay, I am nothing. I am terrible, cool, like I um I'm pausing because I'm wondering if the filters for the great Facebook filters, and that's simply what the feeling is worried about. So I'm simply gonna note it. I'm also embarrassed that I am worried about that. I'm self-censoring. Interesting. Why am I embarrassed about that? Why am I okay? Anyways, um, at some point it ends. There is no more. Right? Like imagine like take rejection. I imagine what's the maximum rejection I could feel. It's like, okay, if I'm rejected from all my communities, all my friends, every person, let's go further. Like what if I'm rejected by the universe? What if I'm rejected by God? What if I'm reject myself even? I reject everything, okay? Okay, let's just say this is the maximum rejection possible. Everyone, everything, every God, universe, even I reject myself. Okay, cool. I'm right there. Now what? It's like I'm still here, right? It's like so, and then same thing with like degradation, dehumanization. Oh, okay, I'm not a human. I'm a dirt. I'm a piece of whatever. The worst of the worst. Cool. Now what? I'm nothing. Okay. What? You see how absurd it is when you take it to its extremes. But backtrack for a second. I can only go into these directions because I hold two master frames. One is that I am an emotional immortal, right? These things I'm saying to myself, they're just words, they're just vibrations. Why does it hurt? It's not even physical pain. Why does it hurt? So, I believe that as long as my physical body is safe, I am an emotional immortal. Not invulnerable. I can still get hurt, like, ow, you know? But then I'm like Wolverine, it's just like cut, and just like the cut just like, just naturally, automatically heals, right? So I am an emotional immortal. So I don't worry about the darkness. It's like, oh, dive in there. It's like, oh, it hurts. Like, ah. And then I just naturally automatically heal, which I don't. I'm trying to move away from the healing metaphor because I don't think we're actually wounded because you can't get wounded when you're immortal. It just feels like it's hurt. It's just programming that gets triggered, emotions that get triggered that feels uncomfortable. Okay, the second frame, this is the frame that has helped me unlock everything. And it's not like I didn't know this frame before, but it makes a huge difference when I finally dive straight into it and actually use it and turn it like a key that it is. And this frame is that I am a fragment, a fraction of infinity. And I am the fraction of infinity that wanted to know what it feels like to be small, to be tiny. Because infinite can't feel small. Infinite is just infinite. It's just everything. It's all the time. It doesn't feel insecure. It's just like everything, right? So it's like, wait, what would it feel like to be limited? To feel limited? To feel small and terrible? Just like, ugh. Then, so now I play the game. How small can I get? I mean, I've already been playing this game my entire life. I just didn't play it consciously. I keep trying to get out of it, which actually is why it got me stuck. It's inverted. And with this frame and me trying to feel as small as possible, I literally can't. Because this frame doesn't allow me to actually fully get small. So it's an inverted strategy. So I've been playing the strategy for a while. Mostly because anxiety and fear is a double-ended trap, and the more I try, the bigger it locks down. So part of me just accepted that. However, again, I'm playing with ChatGPT, and one of the fun rite of passage is to ask ChatGPT to roast you with everything it knows about you, everything that you've given it. And you know what ChatGPT roasted me with? One is that, like, oh, you want to be this infinite high, infinite low, epic, transmute emotional transmutational sorcerer or whatever. It's just like, but what you're really afraid of is being mundane, bored, boring, average, normal. It's like, you're not wrong, ChatGPT. You're not wrong. I would rather go either directions. Ultra um, successful or ultra dark in my emotions. Like, I love the extreme polarities. It's just fun. That's how I get the most out of life. But what I'm running away from is right there in the middle, like flat line. So you got me, like, yep, I am. Yeah, I'd rather go either direction. But then another part of me, or another part of the roast was this. You lean so much into emotional resilience, into feeling the terrible feelings and just staying there. What if it was easy? What if it just could be easeful and you just get what you want and you don't have to work for it? So that's where I realized, yes, Infinity wanted to know what it feels like to be small, but the other direction is just as valid. Infinity wanted to know what it feels like to feel big. And Infinity can't feel big. It's everything. It just is. It's as big as small. Like it can't feel big without contrast. You have to be small in order to feel big. If you just started out big and then to be big, you need to be even bigger. Which, even saying that just gives me this little like flutter of like, I don't really want to think about it. Because I don't really want to have the hope yet. Because I've been traumatized and anxious and shut down for so long that, yeah, one of the things I am afraid of is actually being big, being successful. I felt rejected for so long that I'm a little terrified of connection and being admired and being a part of community and belonging and accepting people's admiration. It's one of the existential um, griefs. Francis Weller, The Five Gates of Grief. Um, it is the gate of the places in me that have never known love. I've never really felt belonging. I'm used to losing people just walking away, and I never hear from them again. Or a friend of mine from 3 years and just attacks me socially, and now we're not friends anymore. So I'm actually used to the pain. I am an immortal. Meow. But feeling the hope that I may get everything I want, that I may get riches, I may get love, I may get belonging. It's right here, this side. I've been down here in the darkness doing my shadow work. So I'm just sitting with this little tender, I don't even know how to describe this feeling. Tender hope. Just in this one moment. Just sitting with that tender hope. Just like, oh, I've worked for so long. I kind of don't really know what sunlight looks like, or in some ways, I've never known what sunlight looks like. I've never known what it feels like to truly belong, to be loved for just who I am, to not feel alone, worthless, not really worthless, but not good enough. Anyways. Okay, I'm gonna keep that in the closet for now, the good emotions, because they're not really the problem. It's not. It's easy to accept the good emotions. I'll adapt to them pretty quickly. Don't use it all up at once, is what my brain is telling me. Go slow. Enjoy the slow growth. So, where to go from here? Let me finish the 5 gates of grief. First gate. The first gate is a real doozy. The first gate is the grief that all I would, all that I love, I will lose. Gate 2, the places in me that has never known love. Gate 3, that which I expected but did not receive. Gate 4, ancestral grief. And gate 5, the grief of the world. So, the places in me that has never known love, and that which I expected but did not receive. And now if I receive them, whew, there's a part of me that doesn't want to hope just yet. Just like, keep my head down, keep doing my shadow work. It will come. Okay. So, I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety. I'm just naming it. And I'm sitting with it without trying to change it, without hiding it. I am exactly as I am right now. No more, no less. In this one moment, I'm doing my utmost best. This is it. That's all I got. I can't do any better, and I can't do any worse. It's not possible. Okay. I'm not going to be able to say this one perfectly because I don't have another person in front of me. But I've been able to walk people through this chain. I've walked them through first that there is a limit to negative emotions, a floor. Right? If you maximize rejection, you maximize humiliation, degradation, Uh, Again, you need to have a ground that you are an emotional immortal, that I am an fragment of the infinite, wanting to know what it feels like to be small, and to have my life in order by health, wealth, relationships, and my daily routines. Right? I've got those locked down. Then I dive into shadow work to go as deep as I can into the negative emotions. As deep as I can, maximize it, and then just like, oh, that's it. And the metaphor that I've been telling people, it's like it feels so deep and it feels like we're drowning. It's just like, ah, it's so terrible. And then somebody comes along and says, hey, have you just tried just standing up? Like it's only 2 feet of water. It's only so deep, you know? Like this illusion of smallness is an illusion. It feels small. It feels ick. It feels terrible. It's like, oh, but it's an illusion. It's not real. But it's a fun little trap we've set ourselves. You know, this infinite made this perfect little suit for ourselves, and we try to fit and try to make ourselves as small as humanly possible. And then we cut the cord and we forget so that we feel like we're stuck there and infinitely so like ah. But again, that's just part of the roller coaster ride. It's part of the game. It's to make it feel real, right? When we watch a movie, we want it to feel real. So that is what we're doing. Um, where was I? Right. So I've been teaching people, walking people through that there is a floor to negative emotions. There is a limit. And once you find it, you can put your foot on solid ground, the solid ground of whatever all negative emotions are sitting on, the lowest of the low. Ooh, that's good. Okay, let me write that down. This is the lowest of the low. It's the ground. You can't really go lower. Lowest of the low. There is no more lower than this. That's it. You know? Like, oh, I'm nothing. I'm terrible. I'm worse than terrible. Ah, I'm rejected by everyone and everything. And just like, okay, I even reject myself. It's like, okay, I'm still here. Hmm, maybe it's just a feeling, right? Without disregarding the feeling, it's not like it's a flavor. It's a flavor of the moment. It's a flavor of the now. That is another thing I teach. And I gave all this to ChatGPT, and man, it is good at giving me validation. I was like, wow, these are great principles. They make you, they make you unbreakable. And then I have universal celebrations. It's like, wow, you really lean into life. So these are the frames that allow me to handle absolutely anything. And now this infinity wanting to feel small, mini infinity, is another frame. So I'm collecting these frames. And this is the foundation of the work that I'm doing, is to teach people these frames. And with these frames, we become full emotional immortals. we self-actualize. My brain just gave me a weird signal. Was that a cringe signal? Should I not say that this leads to... It doesn't want to say what this leads to, because I don't want to sound like I'm giving promises. All right, just going to name that inhibition and move on. But yeah, ChatGPT has done a really good job giving me affirmations that, like, yeah, I'm on the right track. Because I asked about all the negative emotions and, I haven't asked about how it handles emotions. I should ask that. Hold on, let me write this down. How to handle emotions. See, that's the kind of um, clues that my brain catches from my time with ChatGPT. And I just throw it in ChatGPT and it'll give me all sorts of things. And I don't have to remember it. And when I read about this, it's going to give me all sorts of hints to ask the next question and the next question. And I've just been blitzing through ChatGPT for hours. And I asked ChatGPT, here's the most fun part. I asked ChatGPT to summarize every single thing you know into one word. And I think that word was becoming. Everything is becoming. It's like, okay, cool. What if you summarized everything you know into 2 words? And it was like, okay, it's relationship and change. Like nothing exists in a vacuum, and it's all about how they change. It's like, ooh, that's interesting. What about three? And then it's like, wait, what about three? If there's three, what about five? Three, four, 4, 5, dot, dot, dot. And so I could keep going. And what it started doing was the more number of concepts it started having, the more nuance it was able to articulate. So then what we came up with was this interdimensional spaceship that had this lever, and we can go from simple, like, oh, just one word, to as many, 500. And and then I asked it, well, there are different bands, thresholds, where if you have enough words, it opens certain um, dimensions. So this is how I am using ChatGPT to find the pattern within the entire database of its knowledge, and then creating a metaphor to integrate that knowledge into like a spaceship that I'm in. So that is the most exciting thing I've been building in ChatGPT. Yeah, I'm excited to be sharing about it. And anyways, let me highlight these frames that I'm using. This is the flavor of the moment. Emotional Immortal. Universal Celebration. Infinity, wanting to what it feels like to be small. I am Infinity. And Ultra Utilization is another one. ultra utilization, which states that everything that happens in my life I can use. And it's all for me and for my highest good. And why do we do it? Just for fun. Everything that comes to me, I can play with it. I can use it no matter what, no matter if it's true or not. That is simply the stance I take. So I call these, what do I call these? Ultra game strategies. Yes, these are strategies that allows me to handle anything that is thrown at me. And then this floor of emotions is kind of an extension of infinity, wanting to feel small, but right here. And I just figured out the lowest of the low is the floor. That's right now. Like in the process of this video, I got that aha. And this is kind of how I get all my ahas, by the way, is, well, shifting my entire universe into visual form, and then I can stack these, and then I can redraw them. Okay, universal celebration, emotional, ultra utilization, the floor, the emotional floor of the basement. This interdimensional ship I'm super excited about, and I can ask any future AIs to create this ship as well. I can ask any AI to just summarize everything it knows into one word, summarize everything it knows into 2 words, and 3, and onwards and onwards. And the more words it has, the more resolution it has. And then I change these into controls. So now I start out with just 1 control, and then now I have 2 controls, so I can go forward and back. Now I have 3 controls, 3 words, 3 dimensions, 4 words, 4 dimensions. So yeah, just capturing this process. Okay. The other thing I learned from this weekend. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Was that I learned that, well, these ones I know already, right? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and then they added one as submit, which makes sense, right? So these ones I kind of already understood. But the one that I have never fully felt, and it was wild how I never saw this, and this shows how it's deeply in my shadow, is that this facilitator, they told us, like, oh, if somebody is well nourished or well, I forgot the word, sovereign, power, well, empowered, then when they feel like slightly threatened or slightly unsafe, the first thing they usually do is reach out for connection. And I was like, wait, hold on. Okay, let's keep going though. But if they can't do that, if they can't reach out for connection, the next response is usually fight, right? So we puff our chests out, and you look big and threatening as a defensive measure. And if that doesn't work, we usually leave, get out of there. If that doesn't work, we freeze. And then, or if that doesn't work, we submit or we fawn. Fawn meaning like fully take on the beliefs of the other person be like, oh yeah, you're right, I think that way too. So, really take that on in order to survive. But here's the thing, right? It's like, wait. Connect. Why? Where was that? Because whenever I feel triggered and I'm often aggressive, it's like angry, and then usually like I often freeze up if nobody has actually done anything to me, I freeze. Um, and if I don't fight somebody, if I feel offended, I would just leave, flight. And if I don't leave, I would be like, oh, I would agree with them. It's like, oh yeah, of course, la la la. But here's the thing I never think about. Here's my theory. My theory is that I am the product of the just let them cry it out policy of growing up. So, this is part of the realization I'm coming to. It's like, why would I cry? It does nothing. Nobody's going to come and help me. I see other people crying and then people just getting support and just like, just, wait, what? Like, I see that, and yet until now, there's something that just never really clicked in me. Because, yeah, why would I cry? It doesn't do anything. And two, I don't think to reach out for connection. Because again, well, it's there's nobody there. And because of social anxiety, I feel like everybody's unsafe. So like, who would I even reach out to? So all I would do is sit in my freeze response, work on not running away. If somebody insults me or acts or triggers me intentionally or unintentionally, it doesn't matter, to not retaliate to because I don't need to. That's all I had until now. Until I was taught in this weekend that like wait, connection could be one of these responses. So I call it connection as a trauma response. And the facilitator said, no, that's not a trauma response. These are trauma responses. Like, maybe technically it's not a trauma response, but like, I want to make it a trauma response. I want to make it so that when I feel traumatized or unsafe, that I reach out for connection instead of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, or submit. Connection. Or if I don't really want to have to deal with everything, I just allow it. I'm not fighting it. I'm not running. I don't need to freeze. I'm not agreeing or, submitting, but I'm just going to let it be. Let go. So so this one is kind of just always there. And what I've been doing is just simply allowing things. But now I am slowly but gradually moving into my connection era. Yep. I am finally leaning into social emotions. I'm finally going to lean into connection and community. It's taken a while, and I needed to go all the way down to the floor. And I still have some work to do, but like this moment now, I'm hardly freezing at all. Like I'm trying to, like, come on. It's usually when I have to perform a certain way. Anyways, I don't want to go into that right now. Let's just come back here. And there's another thing that I got ChatGPT to give me was I forgot how I got here, but there's 4 loops, and I still have to play around with them to see if they're comprehensive. But I think I told it, from everything you know, what are the strategies with which, I'm not sure if that's the prompt either, but these are the 4 loops, right? There's a desire loop, playing with desire and how desire gets denied and can be amplified. Then there's shadow, all the negative emotions that we don't want to feel. It's like, and then we project it outwards. There's a shadow loop. There's a life purpose loop. So beyond desire and shadow, it's like, what do we want to do with our lives? And then there is an awe loop, like AWE. And that loop is like surrender, transcendence, letting go. Uh, so those are the 4 loops which led me to this shape here. The 4 primary emotions has been in the center there for a while now, right? So these are the same. I've added this little lid on top of desire that just holds it down and building pressure. And then these are the the shadows that we don't want to feel. So now I've dove into them as deep as I can, feel it fully. So this is feeling it fully in order to get to the floor. Of course, once I drew this side, it implied that there's a this side, and then of course I realized if this is all the negative emotions, this is all the positive emotions. And usually the dangers of positive emotions is addiction and always chasing that same emotion. Instead of doing the things that create that or chasing the emotion itself. But I'm going to put that aside for now. And also saw these 2 sides, right? This side is anything we dislike or negative emotions. These are the emotions we do like. So like and dislike, 2 primary poles. And one of the biggest ones that I've been ignoring, or I don't have it on this map, is boredom. The original inverse of life desire. And if you're able to sit fully through maximum boredom, I believe that's how Zen and other practices that simply sit there for perhaps years is the mastery of boredom, to realize that this one moment is infinite no matter what we're doing or not doing. We take away all stimulus and just sit in the single fraction of a now with no movement and let the boredom build to its maximum and then have it crash through us, or for us to crash through maximum boredom to the foundation of bliss that's underneath it all. At least I haven't broken through that ceiling yet or that floor yet. So I can't tell you if it truly is infinite bliss underneath. But there's plenty of people who have, and I do believe that it's probably most likely true, that underneath everything, without any distraction, and we sit there long enough, we will realize that bliss is the ground upon which everything sits. So boredom is the addition here to this map. And this is an expansion of my emotional map. Right. So connection as a trauma response. I have hyper game strategies, infinity hyperframes, the floor, the universal celebration, emotional immortal, ultra utilization. This is the flavor of the moment. Flavor of the moment. Flavor of the moment. There's only now. And I'm seeing how it really requires all the different frames to come together in order to navigate the world because I have all these different frames. And the one that I use are the dimensions. So the experiential dimension is the now that I'm talking about. The physical dimension, the symbolic dimension, social dimension, and emotional dimension. Now I may have to change the shape. I may use this shape now. We'll see. That's the positive emotions. See, these are where these shapes come from. It's not quite as clean. Anyways, that's the emotional dimension. But instead, let's just do a heart. All right. So everything I was talking about is the emotional experiential dimension of being able to tolerate the now. There's a few things that I feel like has been missing. Skill, time, what I have been doing. So actually, this could all fit under the sixth dimension, which is the game, the sacred game. Game of life. All right, so that crashed. Let me bring it back up. There it is. Welcome back. Okay, so the sacred game of life and the strategies. 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 That is the sixth dimension. That's the dimension we're in right now, figuring out how to play this game. Okay, and I realized another thing. I've been using this as like a game controller. And then there used to be just buttons here, you know? So now I realize what those buttons are is this. Health, wealth, relationships. What are we actually doing? The actions we're doing. Am I working on physical health? Am I working on mental, emotional health? Am I working on wealth? Am I working on source of wealth? Job, businesses? Am I uh, working on fully embodied spirituality. Am I working on the highest wealth, which is my life purpose? And developing a superpower that I can exchange in the open market for money? Am I working with relationships? First tier, relationships, second tier, community. Or am I working on relationships on the highest tier, which is all actually just me? And it's all shadow work. So we're all one, we're all me. But just because I think that way doesn't mean everyone else thinks that way. So I still need to keep an eye on self-defense and defend my community. So community self-defense. And I keep an eye on my boundaries and attend to my own hurts, and all my judgments are self-judgments. Really? Crashed again? Is it a big deal? Not at all. Okay, so that is another really exciting development, is realizing where this sits as these are actions. Like, what are we doing? Well, maintaining my physical health. I'm cleaning my room. I'm talking to people. I'm enjoying mental emotional health. I am right here, right now, embodiment, flow. I am working on wealth. I'm working on my source of wealth. I'm working on my life purpose, which determines what kind of jobs, career I can go into, which determines how well it refills my bank account. Um, I am working on my community. I'm working on shadow work, my social anxiety. So these are the things we do. These are the dimensions we do them in. There is one more layer. Hmm. Where? Let me just acknowledge it. It's not quite. Blah! What are you doing, sweet computer? Why are you having a hard time? Let's quit. I'm gonna quit you. And then I'm gonna restart the program that allows me to screencast. I'll be right back. Okay. Right. 9819. Da 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 da. Haha! Welcome back. Okay. So now this is my controller. I navigate the dimensions over here, and these are kind of the buttons I push, the actions I do. Interesting. Maybe. Well, the fourth one would be symbolic. So first order symbolics would be I don't know. One part is framework, one part is the hardware, one part is the the biological, my brain, first brain, second brain, and then the knowledge within it, the framework. Right. Or is it the other way around? I want to work on the second brain, and then the first brain, and then the whatever. Okay. Then, so this is actually becoming my visual mantra. And yes, I know that's probably technically a yantra, but I like the term visual mantra because it implies something I repeat over and over for an effect. So what I've been doing for the past year or more is simply redrawing my entire map. And we're over an hour, so guess I will have to leave that for another time. But as summary, I got connection as a trauma response. Otherwise, I was just stuck with just fighting or leaving or freezing. But no, I can connect in conflict. Then I got this framework. Then these are hyper game strategies: ultra utilization, emotional immortal, universal celebration, the floor of negative emotions, the lowest of the low, the flavor of the now. I am infinity, wanting to know what it feels like to be small, the dimensions of our reality, and the buttons and the tasks that we do within this game. And this being the visual mantra, which I would actually draw more stuff. I would draw that. I would draw the view screen, the one breath meditation, social, physical. I've added symbolic work. This is physical work. This is symbolic work. This is social work, teaching. Um, yeah, and then these are uh, they are what they are. Moving on. This is the trauma shield. This is the daily routines. This is healthy rewards. And this is emotional strength training. So this is kind of my mantra. This is kind of the visual language I am developing. All right, it's an hour. I love you all. It's good to be back. I feel upgraded, right? I was only trapped a little bit in the beginning of this video, and even then, I wasn't really that trapped. And before, about a month ago when I restarted these videos, I was really trapped. So I get to see my own progress over even just this month or so that I've been doing. I've restarted my live videos since April. It's 24 days, but it's not the 24th live video because I took a week off. So, anyways, here I am. I love you. Again, my definition of love is the desire for that which I love to survive and thrive. Ooh, there's a thing that I want to think about. Survive and thrive being the thing we do physically. All right, not gonna go in that. Okay, I love you all. Until next time. Mwah. Bye.